So here we are once again. Good evening, all. Whoever's here, I know Brian is here, and I don't think anybody else is here. Brian, I hope you've had a good week. I've had a very good week, and long work day today. That's a good thing. So I hope you've been blessed as I have. That's my thing. Okay, there goes my phone doing what it always does. Okay. Um, Okay, I don't see anybody else here. I've sent out the usual invites to Mike and Will and Ted and to Mark. So we'll see who shows up. Now, of course, in Mark's case, he's out on the West Coast, so I can see he's getting that at, this comes on for him at like 5 in the afternoon. So I can see him playing catch up. But as far as Mike and Ted and Will, I never know who's going to come in or when. So just play it by ear and see how it goes. Anybody watching on Facebook, my broadcasts are always live on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. Both of my Facebook channels, the Mobile Geezer Facebook channel and the George Hayes Facebook channel. So you can follow along there. On the Facebook page, the show notes are in the post that I put up, so you can just click on that and follow along. And let me show you, like I'm trying to get myself in the habit of showing you where to go to my website for the show notes. So that's what my website looks like. It's mobilegeezer.wordpress.com. And if you click right here on the first story, you'll get tonight's show notes. And the story always has the date in it. So just want anybody who's interested in the show notes to know where that is. And of course, the show notes are always in the description of the YouTube post. So I guess we'll start getting to this week's stories and see who comes in when. So I'm going to start with, if you're looking at the notes, I called this, the heading for this story, Techtober Triple Play, Apple followed by Google, followed by Samsung. And this first one came from Blaze Trends. So I'm going to share the screen. And let's see, where are you? There you are. Okay, there's the screen. And I'm going to try, as I did last week, to use the reader view. But first I'll read the story. So after Apple and Google, Samsung also makes a surprise event. Yeah, I gather we all found out about this yesterday. So let's see if I can use reader view and knock out the commercials. Last week, every time I tried to use reader view, it knocked me out and I had to come back in to turn off reader view. Oh, and let's see, Eleanor's here. Hi, Eleanor, glad you're here. And Brian was first once again. So there's going to be 3 events next week, right in a row. So let's see if I can turn on reader view, see if it knocks me out. And if it does knock me Okay, I am back. And once again, it knocked me out of the stream. I don't know why that is happening. So I guess I won't try using Reader View for a while, and we'll see how that goes. So let me share the screen once more. Oh, first I've got to get my show notes back where they were. And I got the story up. Sorry about these issues. And Renz is here. Eleanor is here second after Brian. And Renz is here. Hey, Renz, glad to have you. Of course, I know you're getting ready to go to work. And I still can't use Reader View just like I did last week, but I'm going to share the first story. There we go. And as I was saying, this is on Blaze Trends, and it's all three of the events that are coming next week. Apple, Google, Samsung also marks a surprise event. Let's make this a little bigger. Okay. That. So the next week promises to be packed with events for tech geeks. It's called Techtober in Action. Google's event to introduce the new Pixels has long been scheduled, but this won't be the only tech giant to take the stage. This Tuesday, it was confirmed that Apple will also hold an event on October 18th, where the new MacBook should be presented. Hours later, Samsung officially scheduled an event for October 20th. So on Monday, it'll be Apple. On Tuesday, it'll be Google. On Wednesday, it'll be Samsung. Galaxy Unpacked event part 2 scheduled for October 20th by Samsung. Now I'm going to follow up with another short story on this. Galaxy Unpacked 2 is the title of an event that the manufacturer confirms through a short 12-second video. Yeah, I watched it. It wasn't much of a video, in my opinion. Unfortunately, this is not exactly explicit to confirm what we can expect from the event. Ready to explore all the sides that make you who you are, a new dimension of possibilities opens this Samsung Unpacked October 20th, 2021. And there's a link for more information. It is notable that we have several Samsung app icons, which means that one of the main focuses of the event could be the software, with news from One UI and the launch of the stable version of Android 12. However, it will be strange if Samsung does not present hardware at this event. What you seem to anticipate from the various colors in the video is that the newly introduced Galaxy may have variants with new colors. I don't see them scheduling an event for that, but what do I know? It was immediately speculated if this presentation could also serve to present the Galaxy S21 FE. This scenario seems unlikely given the announced shortage of components. At least at the time of writing this article, a surprise seems to be one of the appetizers of this event. In a week, we will not have to wait long to know all the news about this Galaxy Unpacked 2. So that's one story. Stop the screen. Okay. And I have one more story. And my heading was just triple play continued. And this one is from Fandroid. So let me share that screen. Again, it's just a short story. Samsung announces surprise Galaxy Unpacked Part 2 in an attempt to upstage Google and Apple. I guess so. And this is what it looked like. I'm not going to play the video. I think it's only like 12 seconds anyway. We knew that Techtober was going to strike at any moment, and we aren't just talking about the iPhone launch. We've been expecting the Pixel 6 to be announced for months at this point, and the wait will finally be over on October 19th. However, Apple and Samsung have both surprised everyone with event announcements of their own. Apple announced its Unleashed event for October 18th, Monday, where the company is expected to unveil its next lineup of MacBook Pro models, likely powered by a new Apple-developed chipset. And just now, and this was yesterday, I believe, Samsung announced yet another event scheduled to take place on October 20th, so Wednesday. Our users are multifaceted and live life in so many colorful, interesting, and unique ways. As such, the technology they use every day should reflect their individuality. Join Galaxy Unpacked Part 2 on October 20th to see how Samsung is opening up new experiences for self-expression through technology. The event will be streamed on Samsung's YouTube channel beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, so that'll be 10 a.m. on Wednesday. Samsung's event is apparently a continuation of the Galaxy Unpacked event, where the Galaxy Z Fold, Z Flip, and Galaxy Watch 4 were announced. Unfortunately, the press release doesn't share any specifics about what exactly we can expect. The only big announcement still expected from Samsung was the Galaxy S21 FE, but that device has been rumored to have been canceled altogether due to a combination of the ongoing chip shortage along with the success of the Galaxy Z Flip 3. And I'll have another story about the Z Flip 3 later on. So yes, Samsung's holding an event 2 days after Apple and 1 day after Google shows off the Pixel 6. If Samsung is hoping to capture a glimmer of spotlight, it may be too little too late, unless we get a real shocking announcement like the unveiling of the Galaxy S22 or another device that has managed to remain hidden. Next week is definitely going to still be Pixel Week. So in case anybody hadn't heard, we're going to have 3 days in a row of all the big shots giving us the best they've got, I guess. So that's, I thought, the biggest thing for next week, certainly. Oh, and Renz is asking what happened to the screen. No, for some reason, Renz, I don't know if you saw it last week, but every time I try to go to read a view like I used to be able to do and get rid of most of the commercials or most of the ads in the stories, starting with last week, every time I hit read a view, I get kicked out and I have to come back in. So I won't be trying to use read a view again. I thought maybe it was just last week, but it's still happening. So, yeah, Brian says, read a view woes, exactly. Woe is me. So that was the biggest thing for the week. So let's go on. If anybody comes in and joins, I'll pull them in, whether it be Mike or Will or Mark or Ted, and see how it goes. So the next story, this one I thought was kind of ridiculous. This one is on Android Central. So I'm going to share the screen. And I hadn't heard about this until I found it from my notes. This is on Android Central. Let's see if I can see who wrote it. Don't see. Oh, and it's by Samuel Contreras. Visible, now Mike uses Visible, Will uses Visible, and I gather a bunch of other people. I don't, I just stick with T-Mobile. But Visible claims there was no data breach as customers struggle to access their accounts. So on October 12th, 2021, so 3 days ago, XDA developers noticed multiple users reporting unauthorized access to their Visible accounts. These customers reported that their account information was being changed and large orders were being placed on their accounts using their stored payment information. Now, of course, and they're still saying there's been no data breach. Customers are reporting that their shipping addresses have been changed and that they cannot access their accounts to secure it. Furthermore, some users have reported that the charges for fraudulently ordered phones have reached their bank accounts and PayPal accounts. Visible responded to this incident on October 13th, 2021, claiming that its data had not been breached. Okay, so people are ordering from their accounts and changing their addresses, but no breach. Okay. Visible claims that it had been investigating the issue as soon as reports came in and had determined that the customers' accounts were compromised by attackers getting their username and password from outside sources. I would call that a breach. Maybe that's just me. The tweet from Visible, we're aware of an inside issue in which some member accounts were accessed and or charged without their authorization. As soon as we were made aware of this of the issue, we initiated a review and deployed tools to mitigate the issue, enabling additional controls to further protect our members. Visible's statement also encourages customers to reach out via chat at visible.com if they feel their account has been compromised. Visible is encouraging customers to update their passwords on other accounts. Visible is also reminding customers that it will never call or ask for your password, secret questions, or account pins. Many affected customers are reporting that they are experiencing extremely long wait lines to chat with representatives. Customers are also asking why Visible has failed to implement a form of two-factor authentication to prevent such attacks. I would wonder the same thing. Visible is a prepaid carrier owned by Verizon that has made a big splash thanks to its low prices and unlimited data. The carrier is all digital and operates no stores. Visible gained popularity thanks to its single unlimited plan on the Verizon network. Visible's unlimited plan is one of the best cell phone plans you can ask for as value for money. So they have all kinds of accesses to people's accounts, and they said that there's been no breach. But I did see an article, which I didn't read, that did say Visible did finally admit, yeah, there had been a breach. Just kind of silly for them to deny it. It sure would be interesting if I could get Michael or Will in here, because both of them use Visible, to see if they had some firsthand experience with this leak this week. Oh, Eleanor's got a good one. Maybe they should change their name to Invisible. Right up my alley. I agree, Eleanor. Or at least make their network invisible. That's pretty good. Oh, yeah. And there's my Mobile Geezer shirt. It was a birthday present from Eleanor a couple of years ago. She had that specifically made for me for my channel. So thank you once again. So I just thought that was a pretty big deal to have that breach, and especially when they're denying it as it was happening and they knew about it. So I've got a fly buzzing around in here, which I don't think I've ever had a fly in here before. So if I start waving at things, you'll know why. So let's move on. And here comes the story I told you about the foldable. Actually, it's about both of the foldable phones. And this was on Sam Mobile. So, okay, I'm going to share the screen. Okay. From Sam Mobile, Samsung has a serious problem with its new foldable smartphones. Oh, Eleanor, I said there's a fly in here. Is it a fly by night? Okay. Eleanor is very, very familiar with my sense of humor, and obviously it's rubbed off on her some. Okay, so Samsung's latest foldable smartphones, the Galaxy Z Fold 3, and I was going to show you, and the Galaxy Z Flip 3, and Mike has one too, I know that. I am loving mine, by the way. Have been very well received. They've already broken all sales records for the company's foldable devices. There still appears to be high demand for these phones. However, it appears that Samsung has a serious problem on its hands. The company is unable to raise supply to match the demand. It's an unfortunate position to be in. Samsung wants to mainstream foldables, but right now it's unable to make as many as it needs to. The global chip shortage has seriously impacted Samsung's ability to increase production of the new foldables. It's because of this that the supply of its new foldables is still lagging behind demand. Samsung had already taken significant steps to work around the chip shortage of its foldables. It didn't launch the Galaxy Note flagships this year. That was a bold move, benching the Star and Note lineup for the foldables. The chip shortage is also the reason why Samsung prioritized the foldables over the Galaxy S21 FE. The device's launch has also been delayed. It remains unclear if Samsung even plans on launching the Fan Edition at all. Let's see if I can get rid of some of these ads. Local media reports also indicate displeasure over Samsung management's fault to incorrectly forecast the demand for the new foldables. I'm sure they didn't expect to sell as many as they're selling. The devices have turned out to be a bigger hit than the company may have been expecting. The sustained demand isn't just limited to South Korea. It's being witnessed in other parts of the world as well. Samsung is leaving money on the table by not having enough units to sell, even though customers are waiting with their wallets in hand. Hopefully, it will be able to sort this out to realize the full potential of its new foldables. Yeah, I saw somewhere else that they said some customers had to wait up to a month after their order, and that's what happened when I initially ordered mine. I had ordered mine through the Samsung website a month after I ordered it, and I ordered it the day they were presenting it. A month after the order, I got an email almost exactly a month later telling me it was going to be one more month. So that's when I canceled mine. I went to Best Buy and bought it there. So obviously they have a very successful phone, at least in the Z Flip. I guess pretty much in the Z Fold 3 also. And they just, like everybody else, can't get enough chips. Most of you know I work for Enterprise 3 days a week, and all I do is deliver cars from one branch to another. And when you drive by all the showrooms, which is on the same street as the branch that I report to, half the car lots are pretty much half empty, and because you can't get new cars. The used car dealers are making goo gobs of money. But today at our branch, we had, I think, 6 or 7 new cars delivered. So I guess somebody's getting them, and Enterprises probably has a lot of clout anyway, so they might be one of the first to get them. So anyway, you got the same problem with phones and cars. Nobody can get chips, or nobody can get enough chips. And that's the way that goes. Hope you like my background today. It's all handheld tech stuff. I just thought it was a pretty cool one. Pardon me. Okay, it's going to be a very quick show tonight. I can see that. But that's okay. Okay. This I didn't know about again until I found this story. Once again, this one is on Android Central. So I'm going to share screen. Let's see. And this one was written by Babu Muhan. Now, we all know that Apple and Fortnite, theirs is mostly settled, and Apple basically won that fight for the most part. But now Google countersues Fortnite maker Epic Games for violating Play Store contract. So here we go again. The complaint states that Epic's breach of the Play Store developer distribution agreement threatens Google's reputation and goodwill with its users. Google has countersued Epic Games and accused the company of willfully violating the Google Play Store developer distribution agreement. Epic willfully breached the DDA by submitting a version of Fortnite for publication on Google Play with a payment method other than Google Play billing for purchases of in-app content. So same as they had with Apple. As reported by ZNet, Google's counter complaint also accuses Epic Games of denying its service fee under the DDA for in-game purchases made through the Fortnite app outside of Google Play billing. Even though Fortnite has been removed from the Play Store, there are still millions of Android users who continue to have access to the app. Google claims Epic has been unjustly enriched at its expense and is seeking compensation for the service fees that it has lost because of Epic's direct payment system. Remember, Epic did have to pay Apple for the money that they didn't give them for a year. So my guess is it's going to happen all over again. The complaint also says that Google did not disable Epic Games' developer account after removing Fortnite from the Play Store, leaving the door open for the company to publish a new compliant version of the app. So, opposite of Apple, Apple just banned them from the App Store completely until all appeals and everything is done with court. So, but Epic did pay Apple when the judge basically ruled on Apple's side. So I'm going to guess the judge here is going to do the same thing. Additionally, the complaint states that Google doesn't force developers or users to use the Play Store to download, install, or distribute apps on Android. Far from generating anti-competitive harm, Android and Google Play bring enormous benefits to developers and users, and they do so at zero cost to users and minimal cost to developers in the vast majority of cases. It depends on what you call minimal cost. It's basically 30%, so maybe it may not be minimal to them. Epic Games has sued Google in August last year after Fortnite was removed from the Play Store in response to an update that encouraged users to bypass Play billing. Apple countersued Epic Games just a month after Epic filed a lawsuit against it over Fortnite's removal from the App Store. And Epic got a slight win in that, but Apple mostly won that. So I'm going to guess that Google's probably going to do the same thing. I just didn't know that Google had put out the countersuit. So just another interesting story. Any of you guys have any comments to make on any of these stories, just put them in there and I'll try to catch up with them. Okay, we're going to move on. And of course, I have more Pixel 6 news. I don't know if we've heard everything about the Pixel 6, but I found this little story. And just in case you hadn't heard it, I thought I'd throw it up there. This was on 9 to 5 Google. It's by Ben Schoon. I remember when Ben Schoon was a teenager. That's been a while ago. Pixel 6 series will allegedly get 4 major Android updates alongside extended security patches. And if you look on my, I said Pixel 6, 4 major upgrades plus 5-year security patches, which is basically what we're looking at. So that's not bad at all. The plethora of Pixel 6 leaks over the past couple of weeks have revealed a ton of major details, including the extended software support this device will get compared to past Pixel devices. Now we're getting a bit more clarity on that, as a fairly reliable leaker is claiming that Pixel 6 will get 4 major Android updates over its life, which is pretty good. Snoopy Tech claims, of course, I love the name Snoopy Tech. That used to be my nickname in our motorcycle club in Orlando. Snoopy, not Snoopy Tech. Snoopy Tech claims that Google will support the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro over the course of 5 years with 4 major Android updates, with 1 additional year of security patches after that point. The claim of 5 years of security patches lines up with Google's leaked marketing, but that leak didn't specify major Android updates. By this logic, Google would be offering the Pixel 6 updates to Android 13, 14, 15, and 16 over the next few years. That would be very cool. The phone will be getting 5 years of major updates alongside its security patches, which is certainly great to see if this information pans out. In a follow-up tweet, Snoopy says that multiple sources verified the information and the leaker's track record is fairly solid, pointing to this information being true. And there's his tweet. Pixel 6 gets 4 OS upgrades and 5 years of security patches. If all this does pan out, it will put Google back in the lead as far as Android manufacturers goes when it comes to support. Samsung currently holds that crown, offering up to 4 years of security patches on some models and up to 5 years on some enterprise hardware. Didn't know that. Generally speaking, though, Samsung only provides 2 to 3 major Android updates, and they're always delayed quite a bit. Google, meanwhile, will likely be providing these 5 years of support in a very timely manner. Let's hope. This extended timeline is surely made possible by the use of the Tensor chip, but Google is still pushing for improved support on third-party hardware too. Last year, Google and Qualcomm set the foundation for Android phones to get 4 years of support. So I think that is great news. And of course, we're all excited about the Tensor chip, including me. So I can't wait for next Tuesday. Hopefully, some of you can't either. Let's see. Ms. Massey, glad to have you here. Good story. How I know idea that was going on. Good. I'm glad you caught it. Yeah, she's talking about the Google Epic story. I hadn't heard about it either until I found that story this week. So, and that's what I try to do. I try to give you the major stuff that I think is the major stuff, and I try to give you guys a little bit of what you probably am not going to hear every place else. So hopefully I'm doing that. You guys can let me know if I'm doing a good or bad job at that. It's my Minute Maid lemonade. I love that stuff. Okay. And like I said, it looks like it's going to be quite a short broadcast this week. And I'm already down to my last story. Oh, thank you, Ms. A. I appreciate that. I'm guessing that Renz is on his way to work, but I'm not sure. But this is usually the time he starts getting ready to come back in, which means he's already driven to work. So this is my last story for the day. Oh, let me show you my screen of what I call this story on my website. Okay, it's about Fuchsia, and I just said Fuchsia back from the dead again, because we have been off and on with this thing for 5 years now. So here's the story. This one is on The Verge. You know there has to be a story from The Verge every week, otherwise we wouldn't be complete. Anyway, Google's plans for Fuchsia OS teased in job listing, which is interesting. So I guess they're going out and hire a crew to work on Fuchsia, which is great. And I think that's what's implied in the story. And this is by John Porter. And let's see, if you didn't catch it in the beginning, I tried using the reader view like I did last week and got the same results. As soon as I turned reader view on, I got kicked right out, had to come back into the stream. So I'm not using reader view, and we'll have to deal with the ads. Including new form factors and potentially non-Google hardware. That's kind of exciting. Of course, we'd all like to see Fuchsia, period. Google said it's time to now bring its mysterious, it sure is, Fuchsia operating system to additional smart devices and other form factors beyond smart displays, according to a number of job listings first spotted by 9to5 Google. Fuchsia is Google's newest operating system, which was released earlier this year for the company's first generation Nest Hub. Yes, and I believe I also have it on my Google Home Hub. I guess you do too, Eleanor. And they're going to make the point. You saw nothing different, and I haven't seen anything different at all on it. So if it's there, it's kind of identical. There's been a lot of speculation about Google's plans for Fuchsia, which unlike Android and Chrome OS, doesn't use a Linux kernel. It uses a microkernel called Zircon instead. Sounds like some space character's name, Zircon. I like that. anyway, that's just my imagination, and whose purpose is still fairly vague despite having been public for over 5 years. That's true. When it arrived on the Nest Hub, it was more or less functionally identical to the software that preceded it. Right. So you didn't see it. I mean, it's there, but you don't see it. The new job listings offer some clues about what's next for Fuchsia. For starters, it seems like Google now has a named Fuchsia devices team. That's good. Working on the operating system, which gives some indication of the importance of the software internally. A job listing notes that this team is responsible for making sure we can successfully apply the Fuchsia platform to real-world products that make a difference to Google and our users. Meanwhile, this same listing notes that Google is working to bring Fuchsia to additional smart devices and other form factors, interesting even though mysterious, which confirms it's under development for devices beyond smart displays. This isn't entirely surprising given 9 to 5 Google has previously reported on the OS running on smart speakers, and I had written an article on that on my website too. There's no mention of what exactly these new form factors are, but another of the job listings, which has since been removed, spotted by 9 to 5 Google, mentions the devices will feature Chromecast video conferencing and machine learning capabilities. In this context, 9 to 5 Google notes that Chromecast is likely to refer to the devices letting you cast a video from another device for playback rather than be dedicated Chromecast dongles that plug into the back of a TV. Yeah, and I don't see them putting it on a Chromecast dongle, but I guess they're going to be putting it on hardware that allows you to broadcast through Chromecast. So interesting, I guess, somewhat exciting. Finally, there's a tantalizing hint that Fuchsia could either run or interact with non-Google partner hardware in the third job listing for someone who will ensure that Fuchsia is bringing maximum value to partners and Fuchsia-based products. So that's a Google sentence. Google has a long history of working with partners to bring Google software to non-Google hardware and has previously partnered with companies like JBL and Lenovo on their smart displays. That's true. A lot of people say that the Lenovo display is one of the best, if not the best. None of these hints offer concrete information about what's next for Fuchsia, but given how low-key the operating system continues to be 5 years after its announcement, we'll take what we can get. So, it's like Fuchsia is so mysterious that any mention of it, and we all feel compelled to talk about it. At least I do, and I guess they do too. Let's see, what's me saying? She's saying that that reader view glitch, they need to fix that. Though I think the reader view glitch is a coding error. Missy has some job experience with programming just like I do. So I would suspect that it probably is, because for weeks, I was using reader view, Ted was using reader view, and it was working just fine. Starting last week, all of a sudden, at least on StreamYard, as soon as you turn on reader view on a story, boom, it kicks you out of StreamYard. You got to come back in. And I tried it with the first story today, figuring that maybe that was just a last week problem. Well, I gather it's not just a last week problem. So I guess over the weekend, I better see where I can send a quick note to Google. I assume they probably heard about it, but I'll send it to Google and I'll send it to StreamYard. Maybe they need to do something on their side, and StreamYard is very good at responding to anything like that. And she's right. It was working great, then boom, glitchy. Exactly. So it's either reader view itself, or maybe StreamYard changed something maybe not realizing that some of us use review with StreamYard, but I doubt that that would be true because those guys are very good. So I'll mention it to them, and I'll try to find where I can mention it to Google, and because this is on Chrome that I'm running on. StreamYard runs best on Chrome. So we'll see what happens. Maybe by next week there'll be some resolution. I guess next week, before I start broadcasting, I'll actually try testing it and see if it kicks me out. So we'll do some kind of test. So we've been through all the stories. Now, of course, let me share that screen again. When you get down on my website, down to this point, open discussion. So any open discussion you guys want to have, anything you guys want to say about any of the stories or anything else, this is the point where you can feel free to mention anything you want or bring up anything you want. Other than that, it's going to be a very early night since none of the guys had time to come in, I guess. But let me go ahead and mention the glowing rectangles like I know Ted likes me to do. So I'll go share that screen. Okay, so this is glowing rectangles. I'm pretty sure everybody here knows about it, but there might be some people watching on Facebook that doesn't know about it. Well, if you go to reddit.com/r/glowing rectangles, it's, as you can see, a place to talk about all the best tech toys. Now, with glowing rectangles was started by Juan Bagnell, some gadget guy, and he's trying to get exposure for maybe smaller YouTubers, smaller blogs, and you can take a blog or a YouTube channel or a YouTube video, and you can plug it in here, and it can be yours. It can be anybody else's, anybody you want to see get some more attention, and you can put it in here. And when you come in here, you click top, you get to vote on what's the best story or video of the day. Now, of course, this is one, and sometimes he does come up with the most votes for the day. This is on the Vivo X70 Pro Plus camera conclusion. Ambitious, he was. I haven't had a chance to watch that video yet, but he's just happy to see all of us get some exposure, which is great. And it's always the top story. So he's got the most votes with 9. There's always the commercial right after that. So the second most upvoted story was from Sneed Mobile Tech, and that was on Spectrum Mobile's new unlimited family. And he does a lot of videos about plans and stuff. He's very knowledgeable about that. So that got 5 votes. And then let's see, whose is this? This is posted by Tech Valor. I guess it's hers. The Zepon Micro 2 Plus on the job. I'm guessing that's this, but not sure. Anyway, just wanted to give you guys an idea of how glowing rectangles works. So let's say, well, let's give her an upvote. If I click that, now she has 5 votes rather than just 4. And so now, of course, she's tied with Sneed, but I don't think I should just do what I was just showing you guys. Oop, didn't mean to go back. Well, I wonder why I went back. It's going from 5 to 3. I'll leave it at 5. She deserves it anyway. So that's how glowing rectangles back. And remember, once again, it's reddit.com/r/glowing rectangles. And then you can post any story or video you want. And you can upvote anything for the day that you want to upvote that you think is good. You can watch the video. You can read whoever says it. You can also post a story here. So if somebody puts a blog here, you can read it. And you can upvote that. So that's how glowing rectangles works. And let me stop the screen. And as I said, it's going to be a very short show tonight. It was just me. Let's see, Brian's got something. Pixel 6 Pro. He's saying, what price would sway you to skip it? Interesting. I never thought of that. But yes, I definitely want the Pro. He says $1. Well, I think the rumored price right now, of course, we'll find out next Tuesday, but the rumored price is either 1,000 or 1,100 for the Pro. So yeah, I guess if you put it at 1,200, I would probably skip it. But of course, I'm going to trade in something to bring it down some. My best guess right now would be my Pixel 4a, because of course I have my Pixel 5a. And for me, see the Pixel 5a, you can see the difference in size here. The Pixel 5a is quite a bit taller, especially when in hand. I don't know if you can see that well. Wait, I got it too low here. But Pixel 5a fits in my hand much better. For me, the Pixel 4a was just a little bit too small. So the Pixel 5a is closer to a much more perfect size for me. So if I'm going to trade in something, it's probably going to be the Pixel 4a, because I've already traded the Pixel 3a towards the Z Flip 3. No, I traded the Pixel 3a toward the, which one? Toward the Pixel 5a, and I traded the OnePlus 7 Pro towards the Flip. So I guess my next most valuable phone, oldest too, would be the Pixel 4a. So yeah, as long as they'll take that on a trade, that's probably what I'll be trading in towards the Pixel 6 Pro. How do I think Google will handle the A series? I hope they put the Tensor chip on it, because for me, this will be the very first time I bought the main Pixel. I've always bought the A. I bought the 3A, then I bought the 4A, then I bought the 5A, because it's so much cheaper. And, you know, with Pixel, there's always some kind of fairly big deal problem, you know, with battery life, or with it kicking you out, or with screen issues. So we're all kind of hoping that's not the case this time. But usually by the time they release the A, which is what, 6 months afterwards, they've at least gotten whatever the original bug was on the original out of the A. And in my opinion, that usually makes the A the better deal, because you don't have the glitches. And with some of the Pixels, they were able to fix the problem, and some of them not so much. So I'm hoping the Pixel 6 Pro doesn't have a major issue, and if not, I will be very happy. But I'm pretty excited about this one. I think, you know, like everybody else, I'm most excited about the Tensor chip itself. And let's see how Google does making its own chip. I'm sure with a whole lot of help from Samsung. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but Qualcomm did put out a fairly snippy tweet, you know, casting some aspersions at Google, because, well, there's some more money they're losing. So let's hope they're not following Intel, because Intel, I think, is in serious trouble. But so now Google's making their own chip. Let's hope that continues. Apple, of course, makes their own chips, and Apple is dropping Intel. So the classic chip makers, you know, not so much anymore. Okay. Let's see, Miss E is saying Pixel 3 and XL were having major camera shading issues at launch. Yeah. And they fixed it in the software fix later on. That's right. And again, I didn't buy either of those. I bought the 3A, which was the first Pixel that I bought. But I kind of, you know, it got to the point where I kind of look at it as the A fixes all the problems from the original. And of course, that's just because they had the time to do it. Brian is saying they never used the flagship SoC in the A series. No, that's true. They never have thus far. Whatever chip they used in the main line, they did not. They used a cheaper chip in the A series. But since they now make their own chip, now, of course, this is just speculation on my part, but if you're going to call it a 6A, implying that it's the cheaper follow-up version to the 6, I don't see how you switch the chip this time. I guess they could, but I think a lot of people would feel cheated getting the A. Now, of course, if I get the Pixel 6 Pro, I'm probably going to skip the A, but if I were going to get the A and I hadn't bought the original Pixel 6, I would feel kind of cheated if they gave me a different chip. I'm not saying they couldn't make a more economical chip. And keep in mind, there's some differences between the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro. So I'm thinking they could still use a tensor chip, but not as powerful as the Pixel 6 Pro, but maybe they could use the same stuff they were doing in the, I know, one reason that the SoC is always different is because it's a much cheaper SoC, which goes a long way towards them making a cheaper model, which is why we have the A series. But I just don't think people are going to like it if they come out with a Pixel 6A that doesn't have some kind of tensor chip. So that's my guess. And they know this too. So if I'm right, they would have been working on whatever's different about the tensor chip for the A, before we ever got the release of the 6. So I'm hoping that's the case. I don't know if that will be true, but I guess it's possible. And Mr. like me and like all of us know, issues at each major launch, and there always is. So I'm hoping not this time. Now, of course, I just had a sick thought. If there are no issues with this launch, it's almost like saying, well, maybe Qualcomm was the problem, and now they don't have that problem. I don't know. But it's just a thought. It would be funny if this would be the first Pixel since the Pixel 2 with no big issues, and they're using their own chips instead of Qualcomm's. Just a thought. So, I think that's all I've got for tonight, folks. And I want to thank everybody that came through. Not short enough list. Brian, of course, he was first. Renz, of course. Renz, I don't know if you got to work yet, but hopefully you did. Let's see. Oh, Renz did get to work because there he does again. Give me a super chat. Renz, thank you, sir, very, very much. Super sticker this time, which I think that's what he gave me last week. So, as always, Renz, very, very grateful. And hopefully you can go back and see what you missed. But since it's just me alone tonight, we didn't have work. Yeah, as I suspected, I knew you'd be at work now. So thanks as always. But anyway, let me go through and thank everybody. So Brian and Renz and Eleanor and Miss E. And I think that's all the people who commented tonight. So I don't know if there were, it says there are 6 watching now, so I guess there was a couple of people who didn't comment. Anybody watching on Facebook, thanks for coming by. And I want to, Eleanor came up with a couple of really good bad puns tonight, right up my alley. Renz is asking, Techtober special FNTT next week. Well, certainly I'm going to have stories about the Apple event. I can't even remember what it's called again. And, of course, about the Google event and, of course, about the Samsung event. So we'll see how it does. Let's see. Brian wants a comparison between the 5A and the Pixel 6 Pro. And, of course, you will get that at some point. I haven't even gotten to a comparison between the Did I do the 5A against the flip? I don't think I did yet. So that my next video will either be the flip against the 5A or the flip against the 12 Pro. But yeah, I'm way behind on that stuff, so I got some catching up to do. He's saying, oh, and Rance, thank you for the replay squad. Always very happy about that. And Brian is saying, make it a blind test and wait for the. I don't know if I could do. I guess I could do that. I've never done a blind test, so I could just say, Pixel 5A versus Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3. You guys tell me which is good at the end. I've never done that, and it always kind of drives me crazy when people want me to guess. It's something I'll think about, Brian. Let's see. That's right. Renz is saying, don't forget the Sony event. That's right. I forgot the Sony event is also coming up. So since you brought it up, Renz, I guess I feel pressure to get at least those 4 stories in by next week's show. So I will mention something about all 4 things, which means I'll probably have to go watch the Sony event. Now, of course, that's when I would really need Ted here because he's really the Sony guy, but who knows, maybe he'll pop his head in. So anyway, thanks to everybody. Thanks, Renz, for the not super chat this week, super sticker. And I hope everybody has a very blessed weekend, and I will see you all next week. And